All right. Good morning, everyone out there on our Facebook live feed. This is your host, Kabila Jones, with my special guest, Mr. Ahmad Perry Sr. out of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, Georgia, we need y'all to get it together and do this thing in January with this. We just need all this election stuff to be over.
Right,
Can we
right.
just get all of that over with? Oh goodness. Um, we have a really great show planned. I hope everyone is ready to take notes. Like get your pen and paper, take notes. Because we're gonna be dropping Ahmad is going to be dropping some gems on you today. Look, rare and priceless gems when it comes to finances and relationships. So look, we're about to get ready to go on air here in a few moments. So we're gonna save those juicy tidbits for then. So Ahmad, you ready to do this thing?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Like we've already had, this conversation, so I'm gonna try to contain my excitement. But yeah, yeah. So I'm ready to dive into this. So for those of you listening on air, if you want to jump on Facebook, in between the breaks, because we're gonna kind of keep it rolling. We won't leave you out of the whole conversation, but we're gonna keep some of it rolling because like there's so much to dissect when it comes to finances and relationships. Like 1 hour is just not enough. This is like
Right.
it'll be a whole week long conversation. um, yeah, we're gonna get into this on today. Um, and so I want to thank everyone who's tuning in so far. Let me I need to get multiple screens here. Alrighty, so Ahmad, are you ready to bless the people here?
I'm ready to bless the people.
Okay, so we got about um 5 seconds before we go on air. Well, 30 seconds, sorry. We got to get the legal stuff out of the way. Um, all right, y'all. So please stand by. We're going to get started here in just a moment. Whew. Should drink some water before we get started. Okay. So we have people checking in already. Good morning, Aretha, Ricky, Bobby. And if I mess up somebody's name, please, y'all, don't. Please be mad. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Quabila Jones. My very special guest is Mr. Ahmad Perry Sr. He is the president and CEO of APE Business Solutions, no, Incorporated, founder of Generation to Come Foundation Incorporated. I am sorry, and author of The Only Way Out: How to Escape Poverty and Live the Life of Your Dreams. Wow, that's a lot. Ahmad, this is your second time around. The first time you dropped some wonderful nuggets on us about finances and how to grow your income outside of your 9 to 5. But today, we're going to take a little different spin on things,
Okay.
finances and relationships. So, look, where do you want to start? Let's just get into this.
I mean, uh, finances is a very critical part of relationships. We see this all the time. We hear, the number one reason for divorces is because of finances. And like I said
Mhm.
on a previous conversation that we had, a lot of this can be found in our spiritual foundation. So we need to start with the spiritual aspect of finances and how it relates to us, and then how our finances relates to anybody that we're in a relationship with. That relationship could be a business relationship. It can be a relationship with your family. It can be relationships with your intimate partner. So all of those things are important, and it starts with the spiritual foundation.
See, I don't think many people really think about that aspect. And then I don't think they think about, and this is me personally, I'm them people. We don't think about our personal relationship with money and our personal spiritual lives. We may think we have it all together, go to church, I pray, I read, but like really, how connected are you to your
Right.
spirituality And what is your relationship, your real relationship with money? I mean, look, I tell my therapist some things that he's probably like, okay. But it took me till I was grown to admit the root of my problem, when it
Right,
comes to money.
right. It took me until, I got divorced and I realized that, my spirit was off in my relationship. Now, we always had money, but we were spending it just as fast as we were making it. And the
Mm,
reason for us spending it so quickly was because we were trying to fill voids. So
wow.
again, not having that spiritual foundation impacted our money because you were trying to spend that money to fill a void that should have been filled if you had that that spiritual foundation. So we can talk about that. I've lost over $1 million in financial resources through divorces. So at some point you have to sit down, analyze what happened in the relationship as it relates to you, because you can't continue to blame someone else for the demise of the relationship. So I had to sit down. I went through extreme counseling. I'm talking about 2 or 3 sessions a week for at least 6 months, and then ongoing counseling for another year before I realized, oh, it was my fault. That's what I did as a man. The last say so as far as the household concerned, if you're following the Bible, was
Okay.
with the man. So I was making bad financial decisions, which
Wow.
led to my wife not trusting my decisions with the finances, which led to conversations and arguments about stuff that didn't have nothing to do with what we thought it had something to do with. It boiled back down to trust. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. That is deep.
yeah.
Um, did you ever find yourself, or do you feel from your experience with other couples, that one or the other will start hiding how they spend, and then that in turn can lead to some arguments because, well, a bill may come due or some emergency may happen, and the other person's like, well, I thought we had XYZ dollars, what
Right,
happened to that money?
right. I remember one time we did a transaction. I made about $60,000 on the sale of a house, um, and I went to the casino, and I'm
Mm.
calling myself trying to flip some of the money. I get back in the car, and I had to call my ex-wife to say, "Hey, I blew a lot of money." Right. So
Oh,
she was mad,
I can
rightfully
imagine.
so, that I blew that money, and I ran through about $82,000 that we had made in a matter of 3 months in the
Mm.
marriage, right? And this was like the second year of the marriage. So for the next 6 years, I was depressed and I was mad and I resented her for the financial decisions that I made. So I wasn't taking ownership or accountability for my decisions, and I wasn't taking ownership and accountability for my demise because I wasn't doing the proper things with the resources that we had garnered and gathered together. So the spiritual foundation is I
Mm.
can't stress that part enough, because I had different issues that were driving my decisions. I was adopted at 8 months. So I had an identity issue because I never felt like I was enough. So when I was able to have some financial success early on in my life and early on in the marriage, I was buying things to try to prove that I was good enough. You can't
Yeah.
buy enough to prove that you're good enough.
No.
So you have to have that awareness. I didn't have the awareness. So I went on and, had other financial successes. Again, that identity crisis. I was trying to prove that I was good enough. So I would go and buy something to say that I'm good enough. Still didn't fill the void. Lost other houses, lost other cash, lost business deals. I had to sit down, because after you lose $1 million in financial resources,
Yeah.
oh,
Can,
you'll sit down. You'll sit down and
wow.
analyze what went wrong. And so I had to look at those experiences as an investment into my future. And once I was able to come to grips with that myself, I was at rock bottom. I was living in a basement in 2018, and I had $2,000 to my name, but I owned the situation. I was
Okay.
having conversations with my friends. I owned my situation, and I took $300 to the stock market. I made $3,000 in 4 days, and I never looked back. I
Okay.
made $3,000 in 4 days, and I never looked back. But I owned the relationship that I had with money I sat down and I got my spiritual foundation intact, and then I was able to generate that income just as quick as I lost it.
And I hope that there are many couples out there listening that are taking heed to the words you're saying, and they're now deciding, okay, we need to have a conversation, because a lot of people go into marriages, people, without having those proper conversations about what is your credit like, what is your spending, what are your spending habits like, what is your spiritual foundation, period.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can go to church, you can read the Bible, you can do all of these things. Sometimes you're just going through the motions and you're
Mm-hmm.
not developing anything real. Again, I found myself in life in those places. Most people know that I was married, and again, did not have those conversations we need to have. And then when other issues started popping up in the marriage, well, both of us kind of dug our heels in the dirt, and the marriage started to disintegrate. And it was
Mm-hmm.
all centered around our spiritual relationship with ourselves, with
Mm-hmm.
money, with everything else in the marriage. And so we never got to the root of things. And we just, decided, okay, we're not doing this anymore.
Right. Right. That happens all the time. Like, we would argue about stuff that had nothing to do with the real issue. The real issue was she no longer trusted my decision making process because I
Mhm.
blew $82,000 in 3 months. Some people don't make $82,000 in a whole year. I blew it in
No.
3 months. And now I'm looking at her mad, and she looking at me mad, but I never took ownership. I didn't take ownership until about 13 years later. And so
There's
when I took ownership
okay.
13 years later, I had to call back. I said, "Hey, you remember when I did this in the marriage? I apologize. This is why I did it, and here's how it impacted you." And once I was able to do that, I'm telling you, Kabila, I was able to find business deals that I never thought I would find before. I was able to. I told you in 2018 I was in a basement. Now it's 2020. I
Mhm.
have penthouse views right now. I'm working on deals that I never thought that I would be working on. And my relationship with my ex-wife is the best that it's ever been. It's better than it was when we were married. And the kids are
That's
having the
awesome.
greatest time that they've ever had. It's just that harmonious um, energy between two people that made mistakes. Once you come to grips and realize what the mistakes were and both parties own it, you can move
Hmm.
forward and you can create a great life. You can live the life of your dreams. That's what the only way out is about.
All right. Let's talk about this aspect of being too independent and feeling like, okay, I'm making my money. And I'm not saying you have to have a joint account. That's your personal business. But
Mm-hmm.
the man and the woman are saying, I'm making my own money. I can do what I want with my money as long as the bills are
Mm-hmm.
paid. So this whole independent attitude,
Mm-hmm.
um, how tell us how that can affect the relationship and affect the flow of money in the relationship.
So this whole independent attitude is the side effect of living in a capitalistic society. Capitalistic society is not a form of spirituality. Like, a capitalistic society is because of a democracy, right? Now, when we talk about spiritual foundation, that's a theocracy. That's a totally different conversation. We go to church all the time, but we never think about this, right? So there is no one on this planet that's independent. From the moment a child is conceived in the womb, he is or she is interdependent on the person that's carrying the child. So
Mm,
from a man's perspective, right? Men like to say, I'm self-made. You're not self-made. From the moment that you were in a womb, you were interdependent upon a woman, right? She had to
mm,
eat the right things, she had to drink the right stuff, and then she gave birth to you. So you were interdependent on that woman. Same things go for females. You were interdependent on that woman. So from a man's perspective, my personal philosophy, I should never depend on the woman financially because I'm a provider. God made me a provider. The Bible says that God gave you the power to get wealth. So before I get into a relationship, as Adam was working in the Garden of Eden before God sent him Eve, I need to amass an amount of wealth to present to this woman to say, hey, I am a provider. I am a good steward of what God has given me, the resources he has given me. And here it is. Do you accept it or not? Here's the problem. A lot of men present themselves before women before they're ready.
mm.
And
Okay.
then they get upset when she rejects the offering. It's not her fault that your offering is not good enough. Go back to the drawing board. If that's the woman that you want, go and get some more resources, amass some more wealth, and come back and present yourself at that time if she's still available. But don't get mad at the woman and talk down to her because what you're presenting is not acceptable to her. That's erroneous.
Wow. All right. I know we're kind of sticking on this line of marriage and intimate relationships. We will get into other types of relationships, but I had another question. Sometimes men feel like because I do make all of this money, here's what I can do for you. And a woman, like you said again, they expect the woman to just accept that. So talk about how having that attitude also, like especially when you're married,
Mm-hmm.
being that having that patriot, how you call it? I don't want to mess up the word, so I'm just going to not try to say it. But having that attitude, like I am man, I make money. You should just be happy to be in my presence, kind of deal.
Again, that's a lack of spiritual knowledge. Like any spiritually aware man knows that anything I put into a woman's hand, she's going to multiply it. So it's not my money because I'm not independent. I am interdependent upon this relationship between male and female. So whatever I put into this woman's hand, she's supposed to multiply it. So if I put $1,000 in her hand, she should give me an idea or give me a strategy to multiply that $1,000. If I put flour in her hand, she should give me a recipe to bake a cake. If I put, whatever you put into that woman's hands or give to that woman, she's going to multiply it. You give her sperm, she's going to give you a baby. Here is the thing. A lot of men give women a lot of bull crap. And that's what she gives us back in return. But it goes back down to that spiritual awareness and that spiritual knowledge and understanding the spiritual relationship between a man and a woman. Whatever I meet a woman with, I already know she's going to multiply it if I'm holding the right energy field. So it all boils back down to my decisions.
Okay.
All boils back down to my spirituality, my spiritual awareness, my spiritual knowledge. If I give her the right thing, she's going to give me back the right thing. I'm never worried about money when I'm with a woman. As a matter of fact, I'll give a woman money just to see what she's going to do with it.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. I want to thank everyone for checking in. Everybody's kind of quiet. I guess they just tuning in. I guess they took my advice and got a pen and paper and taking some notes on this thing. Because again, if you don't develop the key thing, that spiritual connection, you don't develop that within yourself. No matter what religion you practice, what your beliefs are, we are spiritual beings first.
Mm-hmm.
We're on this earth having an earthly experience. And so until you develop that spiritual connection, then everything else is just going to be mute. It's just not going to really matter.
It's going to be a dead relationship, right? It's going to be a dead relationship. And we have a lot of dead relationships in today's society. You see the conversations on Facebook, 50-50 relationships. The women are saying like, this is not acceptable. The men is like, why are you entitled, et cetera, et cetera. But we really have to go back to the foundation. Like we suffer from generational PTSD from the way this country was established. So we have to go back to what caused that issue, right? And then we have to see that right now, men and women are at war with each other. That's not normal. You can't be at war with each other. You need each other for the community to thrive. So you have a lot of households with no father figures in them, which means you have a lot of women raising men, and a woman can't fully raise a man properly because she's not a man. Only a man can teach a man what he needs to know. And so that's when the Bible says you should train up a child in the way that he should go. So when he's older, he won't depart from it. But we have a lot of women trying to raise men, and a lot of men carry a lot of feminine energy, which means when you meet your woman, you're not going to know how to be masculine. The proper way to be masculine, not some dominant machismo attitude that's telling the woman she needs to accept what you give her. No, she'll let you know if what you're giving her is proper or not, because she'll give it back to you multiplied.
Wow. Okay. All right. Another thought, and I guess we talked about this off air. Since we have time, we're going to dive into it.
Okay.
How about the love of making money, when that gets in the way of the relationship? When you have people, it's okay to be driven, goal driven, and you want to have multiple streams of income, But then how much is too much? Like you have, we hear the term chasing the bag. Why are
Mhm.
you chasing it? Why, when you have your spiritual foundation set, it's gonna come to you. So
I'm
why are you
telling you,
chasing it? So you have people with
we've been
a
socialized.
gazillion, huh?
We've been socialized. That's what you hear in the music. Chase the cheddar, chase the bag. I like to tell people, if you're always chasing cheese, you'll always be a rat.
Mm,
If you're always chasing
mm-mm.
cheese, you'll always be a rat. But if you understand that you are a spiritual being and God owns everything, I don't have to make my focus making money. I need to worry about helping people and serving people because it all belongs to God anyway. So if I'm serving people, God is going to provide the resources for me to serve more people, right? I'm gonna have all the
See,
resources I need to serve as many people that I want to serve.
I am a believer in, if I do what I'm ordained to do, then God is going to provide the provisions for me to
Mm-hmm.
sustain whatever I'm doing. I just
Mm-hmm.
believe that. I haven't always been here. Again, it goes back to that spiritual foundation. I went to church, I did all this stuff, but I was going through the motions because I was letting other aspects of my life dictate my overall thoughts and feelings about things. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So everyone out there listening, look, we're about to hit a break, but we're going to continue this conversation on our Facebook Live feed. So if you want to jump on, join the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Look, how has finances affected your relationship? We want to hear some feedback from you all. I know you're taking notes, but we want to hear some feedback. Again, one thing we talked about in conversation is all money is not good money. So
All
again,
money is
going
not
back
good
to
money.
that, trying to have all these multiple streams of income is why.
I mean, the average millionaire has about 6 to 7 streams of income. But the other
Wow.
truth to that reality of that statement is that millionaire focused on 1 or 2 streams of income first and got those 2 streams of income really, really high. And then it branched off to the other, 4 or 5 streams of income. But again, you
Okay.
have to understand that you can't start off trying to, you know, grow 7 streams of income at one time. That's impossible. So you have to focus on
Yeah.
the first stream, get to the second stream, and then get to the third stream. Now, how does that look like? It could be a variety of ways. If you have a job, you need to be taking money from that job and making investments so that that investment can grow, and then you can go and buy another investment with the investments with the residual from the investments that you did from money from your job. But people don't think that way.
All right, we're going to put a pin right there for those listening on air. We're going to take a quick break, but look, jump on our Facebook Live feed because we will keep the conversation rolling. Because y'all know me, I have 100 gazillion questions. So we'll be right back after these announcements. Okay, so I asked that question because, and look, I'm not knocking anybody because I too am thinking about merch that I want to put out,
Right.
in reference to my different projects that I'm working on. So I'm not knocking
Hmm.
anybody. Look, you might see a Q spot, a QB, a bumblebee, something popping up somewhere soon. But
Hmm.
it's like people have a t-shirt business, they have hair business, they have, this, they have that. It's like pick one or two, like you said, and then grow that, and then
Hmm.
let the other stuff come to you.
Right. But the first people never get the first stream of income high enough first. So you try to break off too soon because you're overextended with loans and debt because you were trying to buy something to fill a void. You was trying to buy those shoes to make you feel better. You wanted to buy that car because it felt good about yourself. You wanted to buy that house because it made you feel a certain way. 5, 10 years down the line, you look in your investment nest egg, you don't have any money. What happened to it? It went to your car. It went to your house. You probably overextended in your credit cards. So let's not even talk about student loans. So it's all
We
these
don't know that
dynamics
about
that
that.
we don't understand. Yeah, all of these dynamics that we don't have the proper awareness on, but we try to present this picture as if we're successful. It's not true.
Yeah. I want to say good morning to some people. Chandra, I'm sorry, Chandra, Lewis Perry, Rodney Williams, oh, please forgive me, Shiv KP, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Um, Thank you all so much for checking in. Lamont Styles, Edith Espinoza, um, and everybody's making comments. So go back and read their comments. I apologize I didn't get them. I didn't read them in the time that we were actually saying these other things. So they would sound a little out of order trying to read them now. But thank you everyone. And then Mark Breedlove said, "Chasing cheese, you a rat, my man," and laughing emoji. So yeah. But when we come back on our break, I want to bring, everybody else that's on air, listening on air, into the conversation. We talked a little bit about how when Moses was leading the people, there's some misconceptions about the whole situation. And then when someone is ordained to lead, we get in our feelings, or we let our egos get in the way.
Right.
So we got about 30 seconds before we go back on air. So I want to pick that up and talk about interpersonal relationships,
Okay.
aside from intimate relationships, because yeah, you've had different ideas about money, how it's spent, how it's made, and all that. Yeah, those relationships won't last well either. Won't last long either.
Right.
um, Thank you so much for everybody for checking in. We love the comments, love the feedback. I'm gonna try to stay on point and read your messages as they're happening. All right, here we go. We're going back on air, so stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kalila Jones, my very special guest, Mr. Ahmad Perry Sr. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, if y'all missed the first half, you missed a treat. You're going to have to go back and watch the Facebook video. But we're going to take a different spin when it comes to how finances can affect your relationship. And I'm going to put an S on that, relationships, because we all have interpersonal relationships. Some of us don't have intimate relationships, so all we have are interpersonal relationships. And so let's talk about the aspect. We talked off air how Moses was ordained to lead the people. I mean, well, he led them to a certain point. However, while in the wilderness, he still found a way through God to provide for the people. But you had those with different ideas, different mindsets. So expand on that.
So we got to first understand that Moses was leading about 2 million people. You can't lead 2 million people broke. So he was a very wealthy man because of his relationship with God, and God provided for him. God provided resources, right? Quail and mammon came down from the heavens. So that just meant money and food, right? When you got money, you can buy food. When you buy food, you can feed people. So he was providing economic resources for 2 million people. Now, here's what happens with those interpersonal relationships. Some of the people were jealous of Moses, right? Some people were jealous of that relationship that Moses had with God. Some people had envy in their heart. So they did certain things around him. Like you experience that with your friends. You get to some money and then everybody comes out of the woodwork. But where were you when I was struggling? Where were you when I was in the basement? I had very few friends in the basement.
Wow.
Right? I had very few friends in the basement. I got a lot of friends now, friends that I never would have thought I had. I meet people every day, right? Because I'm not in the basement anymore. I have some economic resources that I can provide to some people. It comes with the territory. So you're going to have your haters. You're going to have the people that are jealous and going to be trying to, throw stones at you and say, you're not all this, you're not all that. But you got to push through that. That spiritual relationship is going to come into play. So sometimes Moses got upset. He threw the stones down because the people was getting on his nerves. Like 2 million people. Come on, that's a lot of people. 2 million people trying to get at you. You got the ladies coming from all over the place. You got the men hating on you because you're driving a certain car, wearing a certain clothes, you're in certain environments. They want to be you. But here's the thing. They don't have to try to be you. They can be themselves. God has made a place for all of us. Wait your turn. Store up your resources, make the investments, make the relationships. and then pay to play. Nothing in this
Okay.
world is free. Nothing in this world is free. Not even our purpose. Our purpose comes with the level of pain. You got to go through that pain to get to that level to sustain you through those high levels of success. And that's the
Wow.
part that people don't want to talk about. It's painful to be successful. Kobe Bryant played ball and he could barely walk. It was painful. Michael Jordan
Mm.
played ball with the flu in the championship. They had to carry him off the court. That was painful. He's one of the greatest players alive. And because he's great, he made a lot of money. It just comes with the territory. You got to have that relationship with the creator to get through those hard times.
Wow. All right. Lamont Style says, my lifestyle intimidates women I would have dated. Okay, Lamont, you have to expound on that. And then Felicia Renee Spalding says, morning. Okay.
Yeah,
So thank
I
you.
want to talk about that statement Lamont just made. That's a true statement. I've
Okay.
had women that come around me, they're like, "Oh, you think you bougie?" As soon as she makes that statement, I know she's not the person that should be around me. But if you're not spiritually aware, you will allow this person around you while you're doing certain business transactions or being in certain environments, and they'll do something to mess up your business deal. But if you're not aware, that woman could potentially destroy you. It's the same thing goes for women. If you got the wrong dude around you and they're saying certain things when you're out running your business or doing your profession, they're going to destroy you. I had an associate of mine come to me the other day. She's a doctor, and she was saying that her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend was calling her job trying to get her fired. That's the wrong dude to have up in your account because he's messing up the money. Messing up
No.
the money because he's jealous of her being in that seat. So you have a lot of that going back and forth on both sides, interpersonal relationships.
Wow. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, again, those interpersonal relationships. People see you at a certain level, they see how you present yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
again, they become jealous, spiteful, envious, whatever other words you want to insert there.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to find ways to bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of asking you, how did you get to where you are?
Right.
Can you help me, or can you give me a few steps to take?
Yeah.
Now, I'm the type of person, I didn't get here by myself. Again, like you said,
Right.
we're not self-made. Like, someone paved the way for
Mm-hmm.
us to be where we are. So
Mm-hmm.
it's my responsibility to share my knowledge with someone else. Now, I can't do
Mm-hmm.
the work for you, but I can
Right.
show you how, I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you how I did it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to personalize this thing. But again, it goes back to having right people around you, having that spiritual connectedness
Mm-hmm.
and discernment to know, okay, yes, no, maybe, whatever, when it
Right.
comes to people.
Right. Again, those interpersonal relationships are critical. Like, I didn't get here by myself. I'll just start with my life. My mother adopted me,
Okay.
right? 8 months. So if she hadn't have adopted me, I wouldn't have grown up in an environment that I could get to the point that I am now. Now, when I graduated high school, somebody else gave me some information about trading stocks. I started trading stocks at 19 and bought my first house at 20, became an investment advisor at 21. But somebody helped me at each one of those phases. So at 21, I'm around wealth managers, guys that's making $350,000 without getting out of the bed. So if I didn't have a relationship with my pastor, I would have never met his brother-in-law who was managing $40 million at the time.
Wow.
Today, that person has retired 2 times from 2 different investment houses, and his daughters run his financial planning firm. He's managing
That's
about $400 million right now. So the relationship that I've had with other people have brought me into spaces that I never would have been in. But the Bible says a man's gift will make room for him. So everybody has gifts, but you got to spend time cultivating your gift, cultivating your crafts, and then you got to spend time developing the relationships. I have relationships that have brought me into $100 million private equity deals to build commercial real estate, which led me to other commercial real estate deals, with a variety of sizes. But if you don't develop those relationships, if you're always chasing the cheese, you're always trying to get something out of somebody, they're gonna feel that. You know how you eat a bag of Doritos and all the cheese gets on your hand? Like, you don't go and shake somebody's hand with that cheese on it because it'll feel slimy, right? So when you're doing slimy business deals and you shake somebody else's hand, they feel that if they're spiritually aware. You don't get to those levels of success without being spiritually aware. They know
Wow.
it. They can read the money. They can watch how you move. They can watch your business deals. They can look at your past body of work and understand that what you understand and what you don't understand. When people tell me they understand something, I say, show me your body of work. If you can't show me your body of work, then it's something that you don't understand.
Wow.
That's the key. You can quote scriptures all day long. If you cannot show me your body of work, there is something that you don't understand. So if you are quoting scriptures or you're in a position of leadership in the church, right? And you're not showing your body of work, you're not showing your people the proof of concept, then there is something off. And you're
Mm,
spreading that spirit to your people. And that's why most of our churches, the people in the churches, are broke because the
mm.
pastors are broke. Now
Okay.
I'm gonna get some flack with that one, but it's okay. Now
Well,
we got some churches where the pastor is the only one balling and the people are broke. You off right there too. That's why nobody want to go to church because the pastor is driving up in the Bentley and everybody else is broke. That's off. All of your people are supposed to be on. All
yeah.
of your people are supposed to be on. That's why, in the kingdom, there's a thing called commonwealth. All the people in the kingdom have the wealth of the king in common. But you
Okay.
don't learn that in a democracy. You learn that in a monarchy. And that's why we got to get back connected to our culture. We got to go to Africa. I went to Africa at 21. You're connected with the culture. Our culture comes with a lot of spiritual awareness and spiritual knowledge, but we lost that during slavery. They took our culture, they took our names, they took our rituals, they took everything and gave us theirs. Like Kanye said, they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth, right?
Well,
But if you're not connected to yourself, if you're not connected to your ancestors, you're not connected to your spirit, then you're not going to get that level of wealth. But they got the wealth. The wealth gap between, Caucasians and African Americans is eight times,
eight.
eight
That's a
times.
lot.
But African Americans have $1.4 trillion of consumption power. That's off. Something is backwards. You got to flip that thing.
Something is backwards with that. As you were talking, my mind is always racing. And I started thinking about, okay, since we've lost our connection to our culture, our ancestral way of life, um, going back to the interpersonal relationships, you talked about how the one gentleman, has brought his family into the fold. And
Yeah,
a lot of us are afraid, well, I don't know if that's the word. We don't want to work with our family or we don't want to work with people we know because we're afraid or egotistical, whatever you want to say, that someone is going to do better than us. Someone's going to be above us instead of thinking we are going to grow together.
yeah.
Like we can do this together.
That's that generational PTSD. That's that generational PTSD. So we have to understand that we have that. And a lot of us don't do business together. One, because you don't trust your brother. How you not trust your brother? That doesn't make sense to me. But when you look at the Marriott, that's a family company. Somebody in that family had to trust each other. When you look
Mhm.
at the Hyatt hotels, that's a family company. You look at Johnson and Johnson, that's a family company. Somebody in that family had to trust somebody else in that family, and they amassed that amount of wealth together,
Together.
together through group economics. There's a family in Atlanta. They own over 100 million square feet of real estate. They own Midtown. I'm looking at the building right now as we're speaking. They're building
A family.
a family company, a family company. And the building that they're building, Google is going into that building. So that
What?
company is only 100 years old. Now, again, I said we have African Americans have $1.4 trillion in consumption power. We should own something, but
Yeah.
no one is working together. So we got to start working together on a grassroots level, which I've started with, the only way out. We have a group of people that knew no knowledge about the markets in April. That group made $100,000 in September. So people start
Wow.
talking. the guy that you're talking about, his name is Darius. We argued on Facebook about him being able to make 50% on his capital every single month. We got into an argument. He came into the group one day in September, he made $8,000. He went back and told his dad and his uncle. Now his dad and his uncle is in the group.
That's
So
amazing.
that's how it goes. That's how you save it. That's how you save the families, one person at a time.
Wow. So want to give a shout out to Priscilla Jackson for checking in. She just saying A-O. Let me go back because there's some more comments. Okay, so AJ Johnson, I guess he's coming, or she, I'm so sorry, was coming to know something else that is so true. Lamont says, I noticed that when they go on my Instagram page, they feel like they probably can't keep up with me. Okay. um, Mark says, the billionaire black boys are proud. Keep speaking. um, Oh, and Lamont says, I guess they feel like they don't have much to bring to the table. Um, and Shanquella, Shanquilla, please forgive me. William said that's a word. People are just really agreeing with everything that you're saying, which, you are dropping some gems here. Malika Nicholson says, all of your people are supposed to be on. Ahmad Perry, excellent. And Ang Banks Pete, please forgive me. Net worth equals net worth, whether a friendship, family relationship, business, or personal partnership. Any bond is built on trust. Amen
Right.
to that. Um, and then Miss, okay, Chestnut. I'm sorry. And Shanika reaching goals. TOWO. I am a member, and I watch him change lives. A great mentor, Mont Perry. Thank you all so much for that, for checking in. Yes, I must say that Amon and I have had several conversations, so that's why I'm all giddy and excited because, again, I haven't always been in this mental mature space in my life,
Hmm.
but I will say that um, when you set ego aside, I'm not going to self disclose right now, but sometimes I let my ego get in the way of
Yeah.
what could potentially be really great connections because I'm looking at things from my perspective because I haven't
Hmm.
had those hundreds of thousands of dollars and barely had thousands of dollars in my bank
Yeah.
account at any one time. So yeah, I'm looking at things from my perspective versus let me be mature and say,
Right.
okay, let me take some notes and look at this
Yeah.
thing from a different perspective.
Yeah. That is uh, humility, and if as long as we can stand in humility, like we can get blessed. Like I had to stand in humility when somebody told me how to trade stocks. I had to stand in humility when somebody told me how to buy a house. I had to stand in humility when I blew the $82,000. Right.
Yeah.
I had to humble myself, right? I had to humble myself. And I had to ask questions. I had to seek counseling. I had to continue to believe that I could do it again, right? And so it doesn't matter what amount of money you have or have ever had, because you can come into that spiritual awareness and understand that you are a spirit. You can create any amount of money you want to. As soon as you get the understanding, God will redeem the times. He'll give you everything that you thought you lost, or all the time you thought you wasted. All you got to do is say, all right, what did I learn from those situations? And if you can say what you learned from those situations, God will bring it all the way back to you. And it'll seem
Mm,
like I didn't lose anything. So again, I just told you I lost $1 million in financial resources in my life. I'm 37. So I had to flip that thing and say, all right, I just made a $1 million investment in my future through experience.
okay.
Okay. All right. So the result of my investments, the return on my investments, if I made a $1 million investment, the return on my investment should be up there, right?
Yes, sir.
And I should have some proof. I should have proof of my investments and the return on those investments. You should see something. So the manifestation for the blessings are for the non-believers, not for you. So that's why most of the time when the people come into my trading group, I've given them money to trade.
Wow.
right? I've given them money to trade because I can't spend all the money myself. My lifestyle doesn't even cost that much. But people think you need $1 million to live the life of your dreams, and you don't.
Yeah.
And that's what the only way out is about. The only way out, how to live the life, how I escape poverty to live the life of my dreams. You don't need $1 million. You just need some understanding. And once you have that understanding, the deals look at the level, or they manifest themselves at the level you understand. So if you don't understand how to make $100,000, you'll never make $100,000. You'll make 50
Stop
until you
convincing me.
listen. The average American citizen makes $60,000. So when you know the numbers, when you have the understanding of the numbers, you already know people are fronting, because the average American makes 60,000. So if you're making 60,000, but your car costs 80,000, you're financially insolvent. If you make
Wow.
60,000, but your house, the mortgage on your house is 400,000, you hustling backwards.
Wow. Okay. Look, you stay dropping. And that's what the people in the we're going to read their comments. We're going to take a break there. We're going to read the comments on our Facebook live feed. So for those of you listening on air, like, you're going to have to jump on Facebook and get the rest of this conversation, because yeah, we're going to keep this train rolling. Like, when I tell you Ahmad is reading me and getting my, like, checking me on so many levels. Look, again, though, but I'm in a different mental and mature spiritual space than I was even 5 years ago. So now I'm ready to receive whatever God is ready to redeem in my life,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in this space and I said, okay, I surrendered my ego. And I'm gonna keep saying that. I surrendered my ego and I'm ready to receive. So
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, but we got quite a few comments to get through, but for those of you listening, we're gonna take a break and be right back. Okay, so let me get through these comments. So, and again, I'm sorry if I'm not saying this right. Somebody named Ang, um,
Ange.
um, Ange, I'm sorry. Yes, humility is not thinking less of yourself; it's thinking of yourself less. Amen. Um, Felicia or Felicia. Oh, Ahmad stay dropping jewels, jewels, jewels. Hashtag the only way out. um, Malika or Malika, please forgive me. I placed my first trade with the only way out with Ahmad Perry today. A man I didn't even know a few months back took my hand and taught me something that is going to change my life. He does this from his heart. Um, and a great leader loves and respects people, and he's comfortable with himself and with the world. Rodney says, Amen. Manifestation is key. Good word, Ahmad. Shannon says, Ahmad is dropping gems. He's a wealth of knowledge. Yes, I must say. I am very blessed to have gotten to know you, and I can't thank my friend Tony enough. Wherever she is, I hope she's listening somewhere. Tony, my hometown friend. We went we went to the same high school at different times, but
Nice.
same hometown. So I am grateful for her, and then to Kia for also helping to make this connection as well. So thank you all for that.
I, I'm grateful for y'all for listening to anything I said, and then actually believing it, and then putting things in motion. And that's the only way out. The only way out is together. You
But
know.
also you have to be mature. Again, going back, I know it sounds like a broken record, but you have to be mature enough and humble enough to receive the message. Like, again, if I hadn't met you 5 years ago, I don't know, I would have been in a whole
Yeah.
different space,
But
and I would have
it's
been.
somebody you met 5 years ago that was trying to tell you the same thing I'm saying now. That's the thing. There's all
I'm sure.
it never changes. That's why the children of Israel went around the mountain. They wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. The Jericho was right there. They didn't have the
Yeah,
understanding. They was complaining. They spent most of their time complaining. So I don't like to hang around people who complaining.
yeah. It wasn't so much that I was complaining at that time. It was just I was in a space in my life. I didn't have any hope. Like, I didn't have
Hmm.
any. It was just a dark space. I feel like that. It
Hmm.
was a dark
Hmm.
space, and we've talked privately about the whole divorce and all that. And it wasn't until I came out of that that I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
God is about to redeem your time, girl.
Look, I'm not ready for it. I am ready for people to see all this fabulousness. Look,
He's about to redeem the time. It's
look,
gonna be big.
I'm ready. And I have so many gifts that I've been sitting on. And people used to tell me, Quabila, you have the capability to make money right in your hands. I can sew. I do nails. I write. And so it's like, what was I doing? I wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I used to get in
Lord.
trouble for talking in class all the time. I
Yeah.
didn't know
We
that was
got,
gonna lead me.
yeah. Okay. So hold that thought. We're going to get right. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the last segment of Community Conversations. Oh my gosh, we are having such a wonderful conversation on and off air. Look, y'all gonna have to go back and watch the whole video to catch all the other gems that Ahmad has been dropping. So, in this last 5, 7 minutes or so, I'm just gonna let you take it away. As we did in the previous conversation, give the people a list of things that will help them, that will help them grow in all types of relationships, in relation to finances. So I'm just gonna
Mhm.
let you take it away.
So first of all, understand that spirit and money, two different things.
Okay.
Like the Bible says that you can't serve God and money. So God is a spirit and money is the result of the spirit. Money is energy. Money is currency.
Ooh,
Currency is energy, right? So understand that the spirit is more important than the money. Then understand that your relationships is the wealth, not
hmm,
the money. The relationship is the wealth, not the money. The money is a result of your relationships. So if you don't have a lot of money, then you don't have a lot of good relationships. You have negative relationships. You need positive relationships. Positive relationships is an energy, which is going to reflect in your money. Understand that you got to have harmony in the relationship. The current has to flow. If the money is going down in your relationship, something's off. Somebody's doing something they don't have no business. But if the money is going up in the relationship, you have harmony. So there's laws to it. Like they say in the songs, Meek Mill said, there's levels to this. There's levels. You got to understand the spiritual component that you are a creator. And when you create something that's created properly, then people will buy it and they will want it. But if they don't buy it and they don't want it, then you got to go back to the creation board. You got to go recreate it. So everything revolves around love. If we don't protect our women and children, our community is going to suffer. So stop fighting over that, you know, fighting with that woman when she's asking you to be a provider. You should be a provider. Just make sure you're providing for the right woman. If a woman is rejecting what you're providing, that's not the woman for you. If the man is not being harmonious and creating an environment that you can incubate an idea and birth that child or birth that vision or bake that cake, then that's not the man for you. That's a tough conversation that we have to have. And so we just got to get back to the basics. We need each other. We need each other.
wow.
We need our women. Our women need our men. Nobody's independent. Everybody's interdependent. And that's the only way out.
Wow. Alrighty then. Um, Anne says, Quabila, I enjoy watching your show. You are so transparent. We as women appreciate that. Well, thank you. Look, y'all want to see some more transparency? Y'all just going to have to check out the Q spot because there I'm myself. I try to keep a little little keep a little PG on it. Felicia or Felicia should just give all praise hands. She says, talk about it. AJ Johnson says, it's also about being in a place of being coachable. Yes. Most people don't want to listen. I'm a member of The Only Way Out, but the majority of the time I'm silent because I'm listening to the knowledge within our group. Thank you, Ahmad Perry, for your willingness to guide others because a lot have the ability to do too, but don't. And then Felicia, please forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Tough conversation, but have it anyway. Yes, yes, yes. Look, I would love to have a conversation with more ladies. I think that we need to start sharing our stories more. Um, I read a quote the other day about when basically if you hold your story back, you're holding someone else back. You could be
Right.
holding someone else back from reaching their potential and from breaking chains in their life and being healed from whatever they need to be healed from. So it's our responsibility as people to share our
Right.
stories,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how painful sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to turn that pain into profit. That's what I like to tell people. Turn your pain
Yes.
into profit. But you got to
And
get
that's why I'm
comfortable.
using my voice.
Yeah. You got to get comfortable talking about your pain. If you're not comfortable talking about your pain, then you haven't overcome your pain. Your pain is overcoming you.
And one thing I like about you, what you've done, and we're about to get ready to go here. We got 2 minutes. But one thing I like about some of the things you shared in previous conversations is about your childhood. You were willing to open up and share that you weren't born with a silver spoon. You know,
Right.
you might have a silver spoon now in your drawer, but you weren't born with a silver spoon. But it took you to go through that to get to where you are. And so
Yeah.
hopefully that will help somebody else. So we
Yeah.
got 2 minutes, minute and a half. So any final thoughts on that?
You can do it. I came from, as they say, I got it out of the mud. I came from nothing, and God made me something, and God can do the same for you.
Right. Well, I really can't thank you enough. Like, thank you to infinity and beyond. And thank you to everyone else that has checked in. Um, it says, okay. Rodney says, time well spent. Ahmad dropped nuggets today for those who have an ear. Chandra, sorry, says our story has the power to bless others, and says your mess is your message. Amen to that. Thank you all so much for checking in. Make sure you like the Kelly K page, share this video, share this with other people, bless somebody else on today as well. Thank you, Mr. Ahmad, for checking in, for joining us, always dropping knowledge and gems. He will be back, y'all. We're gonna find another. We have more conversations to have. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Community Conversations, for supporting Kelly K. We are your community radio station. We are here for you. We could not do what we do without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, thank you, Ahmad, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone else out there, for listening, for watching. 30 seconds. Any final words?
You can do it.
You can do it.
You can
Okay.
do it.
Um, all right. Look, get your spiritual self in check and then start working on your money and then start working on your relationships. Those are my semi precious stones that I'm gonna drop
Yeah.
on today. So I hope everyone has a great and blessed day. Don't forget to bundle up, mask up, and stay warm. See y'all tomorrow. All right, so we're off air. We want to stop the Facebook Live feed. We want to thank everyone for watching our Facebook Live feed. Don't forget, you can find this video on the KLEK 102.5 FM Facebook page. Thank you all. All right, so stop the recording.